What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video, and welcome to your stimulus package update and daily news report for Monday, January 31st. So there's some very important things that we need to cover today because Democrats are starting to change their priorities and adjusting their agenda. Because here's what's happening. President Biden's economic agenda has simply stalled. We know that. It's not going anywhere, at least as of right now. The Build Back Better Act, though, according to Democrats, they say it must pass, or we risk losing our ability to advance legislation while we are under full control. Now, progressives are extremely upset with Senator Joe Manchin. However, and this is where a big change is coming, they are willing to accept just about anything that he proposes. Now, this puts more power into Senator Joe Manchin's hands. It also takes power away from President Biden, who, if he supported progressives, then he could have gotten more of his bill passed. But as of right now, that's not going to happen. So, the likelihood of a $1.75 trillion stimulus package or infrastructure bill or Build Back Better Act, whatever you want to call it, the likelihood of that passing is very unlikely at this point. Chances are it's going to be closer to $1 to $1.4 trillion. That is the most likely expectation. Some are even predicting it's going to be under $1 trillion. So we're going to see what happens there. We do know that many Democrats within the House and the Senate, they've actually agreed that it is about whatever Senator Joe Manchin wants. And if it doesn't include certain pieces of legislation, then so be it. They're open to anything at this point because they say they need a win. They say that we need to see movement and we need to show progress. That's the big key, is right now there's been very little progress on anything. The voting rights bill, nothing. A filibuster reform, nothing. Is really anything. There's nothing outside of the American Rescue Plan that was passed almost a year ago. There's really been nothing. And so that's the issue at this time. Experts are also saying that Democrats need a win because there's another bill that's coming up very soon. This might not even pass. That bill is the government funding bill for fiscal year 2022. Now, currently, we are operating our government under a stopgap bill, a continuing resolution, a CR, and this passed months ago. However, here's where the worries come in. There are so many people that are worried that if the government funding bill can't be agreed to, and we must operate our government under a full year-long stopgap bill or CR, then this is actually going to hurt President Biden's agenda because President Biden has yet to do a budget. He's yet to do a budget, okay, with this caucus, okay, with this Democratic Party, with the majority. So right now they're saying this could be a huge, huge loss if President Biden can't do a government budget. And so we're going to see what is going to be included, what his priorities are with this one. But here's what Senator Chris Murphy had to say. Again, he is a Democrat. He said, and I quote, "The budget has to be next. To be honest, I want Build Back Better to be done, but we have a narrow window to pass a budget." Keep in mind, the budget has to be passed by February 18th. That is in 18 days. Now, he also goes on to say, "You have a limited window on a budget, and you never know what's going to happen in 2022. If we don't get a budget now, there's a chance President Biden will never do a budget with the Democratic Congress." Okay. And he finished with this, and I quote, "If we miss this deadline, it becomes really hard to avoid a year-long continuing resolution." But this was also, pretty much summed up by another Democratic aide as well, who said it would be extraordinary if the funding bill passed before February 18th. And one Republican Senate aide said that that it's going to be very hard to get it done by that date. So, as of right now, things are not looking great for the next bill. And here's what you need to keep in mind. Is the stimulus package, is this important? Is the Build Back Better Act, is this the next priority? No. Is this considered extremely important? To some, yes. To others, no. The government funding bill would take precedence. That would be more important. So you got a government funding bill that has to pass within 18 days. You have the Supreme Court nominee, which we don't know yet. We have a list of a handful of people that will likely be included, but we have to do that as well. That's something that's going to take the Senate's time. So that could delay things. We got the government funding bill, obviously. We got the Build Back Better Act. And according to reports just this morning, House Democrats are also planning a huge policy bill that will shore up U.S. manufacturing. Now, this is actually expected to get a vote later on this week. This is expected to come through the House. Okay, this is from House Democrats. Just understand, House Republicans don't support this one bit. So it's going to be interesting to see how the vote goes down, if it's going to be on party lines, because right now there's a very small window to pass this. So we're going to see what happens there. We do not know, though, if this is something that would be brought up in the Senate yet. This could just be a bill that's going to be pushed through the House, and it might sit in the Senate until other things go through. But we don't know. We're going to have to wait and see on that one. What I can tell you, though, and this was one of the worries that I've had, is what we are seeing is Democrats, mainly progressives, who were pushing for an all-out blitz. Let's just throw everything into this bill, into the Build Back Better Act, and let's hope the majority of it sticks. Well, my worry all along has been they asked for so much. It took so long to negotiate, get down to a little bit closer of a bill to what moderates were wanting. And then, in the end, it took so long, not really our priorities changed, but the economy changed, the people changed. And certain people, certain groups need additional assistance. Others, not so much. But again, if progressives are trying to pass everything, just give every single person some money, if people making over $150,000 don't need it, then should they actually get the money? And that's where there's so many issues, is moderates are saying, no, we can't give money to people that don't need it. And progressives are like, oh, let's just give it to them. Let's just give them the money. And now they're thinking, okay, let's kind of pull things back. Let's pull the reins back and let's decide, okay, how much money can we give? Or what can we do? What are the priorities that are going to be passed? And so that's the issue. This has been my worry all along, is they're asking for too much, which is pretty much prolonging the negotiation, and then the negotiation simply just falls apart. Because one, people are tired of negotiating. They're tired of the exact same stuff that was in a bill a year ago coming up to a bill that's going to be talked about now, when some of these things we do not need anymore. So it's interesting to see what's going on there, but as always, as I know more, I promise I'll come back on and share more. But let's get into some COVID news for today. Now, what we are seeing is U.S. hospitalizations are starting to fall. This is good. We have now a new 7-day average of less than 144,000 people. Now, this number has been decreasing over the past 10 days, and that's considered really good. But we also know that the new stealth Omicron subvariant is 1.5 times more transmissible than Omicron itself. This is the reason I bring this up. Currently, I believe in Denmark, 92% of the positive cases they're seeing is the stealth Omicron BA.2. Now, I believe in the UK, or maybe, I think it's in the UK, they have about 9%. In the US, we have about 8% of our positive cases are the stealth Omicron BA.2 subvariant. Here's the reason why that's so important. Right now, the majority of our cases are just pure Omicron. Okay, but if the stealth variant is 1.5 times more transmissible than Omicron itself, we could see in the next 2 to 3 weeks a huge spike in new cases. Hospitalizations will come probably about a week after that, and deaths would come about 2 to 3 weeks after that because they lag. So, scientists say that even though it is more transmissible, it likely does not cause any more severe disease. And there's no proof that it evades vaccine protection any more than Omicron does. So that's good news there. It's not worse. It would be about the same. The only issue is it could be 1.5 times more transmissible. So they say this is something that we need to look into. This is something that is going to take some time. But as we get this information over the coming weeks, I promise I will bring you that news. Here's the big fears though right now. The big fears amongst millions of people is, what do they do with long COVID? How do they bounce back from this? Because many people across the world who've had COVID in the past are still dealing with the after effects, the side effects. Many still have brain fog, pain and fatigue. Some, they can't smell or taste anything. And according to reports, a lot of Americans are simply leaving their jobs due to the fact that they can't function properly for their position. And the problem with long COVID is that the only way to tell what's going to happen is to wait and see. And this has many people extremely upset because waiting and seeing and just hoping the best is going to come out of it, that's not what they want to hear. But let me ask you this. Do you know of anybody, or have you yourself experienced any of the long COVID symptoms? For example, pain and fatigue, smell, taste, brain fog, consistent headaches. Have you had any of this stuff? Let me know down in the comment section below, because I know a lot of people that have. So that is what we know as of right now. As always, as I know more, I promise I'll come back on and share all the latest news and updates. Just want to thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.